I'm Daniel Schindel. I'm the owner of Schindel Agencies Incorporated. We have offices in Oyen and Provost, Alberta, and then Macklin, Saskatchewan as well. We are a brokerage that operates in both Alberta and Saskatchewan, providing local insurance policies and coverage for clients that we have um, relationships with, right? No. I moved here from Cochrane, Alberta. I'd worked for an owner of an office out there with insurance for 2 years before I had the opportunity to move here, and took over the Cooperators Insurance Office in 2007 and finished up my contract with them in 2017. Schindel Agencies was started in 2010 as a corporation. I've been in the insurance industry for 16 years. No, Macklin was opened up in March of 2018, and then Schindel Agencies opened up Oyen June 1st, and then Provost was opened up July 1st. Very relational. You get to know people very well. You get to know their business, their family, their relatives, their history, and then you get to work with all the different products that they might be interested in using, if it's liability for their farming operation, or if it's for their vehicle coverage, or if they need life insurance. And we also deal with the investments, so helping people with accumulating assets, saving them and protecting them and growing them. 2005 was when I was first started with the Cooperators in Cochrane, Alberta, and I really liked the idea that they took care of a multiple of options for their clients. So we could help them with their home and vehicles. They could look after their investments and their life insurance, disability, critical illness insurance. You can meet with them. They can meet with one person and talk about all their products and come to a location and do that. So when I finished my contract with the Cooperators, I thought I would do something similar, but just on a smaller scale, and it didn't turn out to be any smaller. It actually increased. When I left the Cooperators, I couldn't compete for 12 months, and then I waited for that time to finish up, and I got my new contracts with other companies set up and opened up the doors after the 12 months was over. That was very difficult. It's kind of like, yeah, you got to get everything ready, but you can't do anything, and you're waiting for a certain day on the calendar to pass, and then it's just go. I was taking buildings over, buying furniture, setting up computer programs, buying equipment, hiring staff. All during that time, we also had an insurance claim where the water leaked into one of the buildings and damaged the ceiling and the floor and the walls, and we had to then renovate that building. So yeah, there was a lot that was going on in 1 year. There's positives and negatives in everything. Yeah, so when I had to take that 12 months off and I couldn't work in the area, I did. I spent a lot of time with my kids. I got to watch them at swimming lessons and going to soccer. I was able to coach my daughter's soccer team. I've never been able to do that before. I've just not had the time. I volunteer with some charities in the area, and one of them had a leaky sink in the bathroom, and they asked if I could fix it, or at least work with the plumber to get in there and get it done. Well, it turned out that was a total gut job, because that sink had leaked and wrecked the cabinet and had damaged the wall, and the flooring was peeling. So we just took it back to the studs, brought the plumber in, replumbed everything, drywalled, put in new fixtures and flooring, painted. We finished it off. There were 9 different guys that came and worked with me at different days over a 3-week period of time. Again, if I had not had that 12 months off, there was no chance I could have been that much hands-on and helped out with that. I'm sure I would have done something, but I wouldn't have been there for 3 weeks working on that project. That was the men's bathroom. When the ladies found out the men were getting a new bathroom, they needed one too. So then the next week we moved in and we did the ladies.
So it turned into a much bigger project than I thought it was going to be one day with a plumber. It turned into almost a full month.
So in 2002, I got into the insurance industry by obtaining my accident sickness license and my life insurance license. I worked for a captive company for about 2 years and then went out as a broker. And then I was recruited by the cooperators to get that they would offer me a full-time position if I had my general license. So in 2005, I obtained my level 1 general license. In 2006, I went for my level 2. And then when I moved out to Provost and Oyen and ran the offices for cooperators here, I obtained my level 3. That would have been in 2010. So that's what qualifies me to be in the position I'm in. They all go along with a provincial examination. Depending on the level, it can be up to a 3-hour exam that you have to qualify and pass. There are courses that you can do and self-study, and I did both. I took classes and I did self-study. No, definitely not. A friend of mine was in university, and I was working actually as an apprentice in carpentry and was going to SAIT, finishing up my 3rd year, and I'd been injured on the job site. So I was looking for a job that wasn't quite as physical or labor intensive. Didn't know what I was going to go into, but I had interests in real estate. And then my mutual friend had suggested insurance. That insurance was a good, viable career and possibly a business to run in the future. And I really liked that idea. So I got involved with him in that company, and that's how I started out.
Actually, it's been very beneficial, even in the insurance industry, when we're talking to people about their buildings. I can talk to them knowledgeably about the products and the finishings that might go into a building, especially knowing the era of, say, of a building, like when it was built. I'll have a good idea of what the finishing might have been at that time, or if they've updated. You've got a better idea of what you're looking at, and so when you're asking questions, you might be able to help them out by describing it. Does it look like this, or do they have something like that for, say, flooring or wall finishing? Roof material is always a question that you have on applications, foundation type. So all that experience has been very useful with getting into the insurance. Companies are always changing and adjusting. So the market is dealing with claims and natural disasters. I mean, I think about the fires that happened in Fort McMurray in that area. That didn't necessarily affect us greatly. We did have some clients, some properties that were insured in that area. So we did see some of it come through our office. It was the flooding too in High River. We did have some claims go with that. And then how it affected the entire area. Because when you have a huge loss in, say, a territory like Alberta, then everyone's rate is affected. The people in those areas have greater effect on their policies, but we all are sharing in the risk in an area. And so there's always adjustment there. Companies are changing what they will offer, how they provide it, the wordings, the pricing. So you're helping people with that process. As a broker, with having 5 different companies to go to, you can, if one company is being difficult or not offering something that the client is wanting coverage for, well, then you have choice. So then we can use our software to analyze pricing and product. Even deductibles are a great effect. Limits, of course, always come into play. Policy is only as good as its wordings. If one excludes something and another one allows it or covers for it, let's say ground seepage. There are some policies that will cover for water seepage into a building, and there's other companies that flat out have it as an exclusion. So it's good to point out this policy is cheaper and here's why. I enjoy growth and expansion. So definitely when things are going well, when people are seeking you out and asking you for your advice and your help, that's what I enjoy. And when we can, after say working on something for a few days or a couple weeks, you find a solution that works for everyone. That's definitely a nice feeling. Well, providing for my family is definitely one reason. I did like, I'm very relational and I enjoy working with people. I like problem solving. So this industry kind of touched on a lot of those areas. I did do some analyzing with personality tests for careers and what would be a good fit possibly for my personality and experience. And this is one that often comes up in those type of surveys. Sometimes it allows me, if I can carve out the time, the ability to travel and to spend a lot of time. I mean, I get to choose when I work and when I don't work, but I usually choose to work when when it's most convenient for the client. So sometimes that means I do a lot of evening work, but when you run an office where the hours are 9 to 5, well, that typically is the majority of my day, but I will often meet with clients in the evenings too. My wife and I were married 19 years ago, and we've got 10 children. I spend time with them almost every day. So I start out my morning with the kids. I get them up and out of bed, and we spend time reading together. I get them fed and dressed, and they're ready for school, usually, or at least halfway done before my wife gets up. But she's up with the baby at night too, right? It's going to be hard some days. Yeah, some days you're going to feel like, why did I bother? Why did I bother getting out of bed today? It would have been more productive just to stay in bed. But those days are few, and they are mostly far between. There's a lot of good days in between there too. I really like working with a team and building into people, sharing my knowledge and experience. So with helping people getting their licenses and learning product, I do like systems. Systems definitely, they enable us and they're a good tool to use. It's nice when they work. Last Friday our system crashed and wasn't working at all. And well, you call the help desk and they get things running again for you and help you out. I think one of the main things that you need to be successful is you need to be optimistic. You need to look for the positive. So someone might come to you and have a complaint. And if you can look at a way to turn that into a good thing, if you can help them out and see how, right, we can work through this together and what options are available, I find that things go well if you can keep a positive mental attitude. That doesn't necessarily affect the situation, but affects how you receive it and you handle it, right? So that's what I try to do. Mentoring was very important. So I always sought out people that had been down the road in similar situations. I tried to choose people that were like-minded, say maybe in their family situation, if they were a strong family person and they were in the insurance industry and maybe ran an office in another part of the province, I sought them out and I asked them for advice and if you were dealing with this, how would you handle it? So you learn off of other people's experiences and mistakes. That's definitely an asset. Community support. So I have found, like I said, I've been in these communities for 12 years and worked with people, built a lot of relationships, and I actually have found the response to me coming back into the community and opening up offices that we broker business. So it's a different style than, say, with a captive company. The relationship and the response from the community has been actually overwhelmingly positive. It's been very good. Some people have stayed friends and not brought their business over, and that's okay. It's nice. I enjoy friendship just as much as I enjoy business relationships. And I think there's value in both. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.